Hey guys, Art Decline here, Average Picker, and you can probably see what we've been up to on the floor. And I'm going to say you cannot beat a good workspace, and the floor is not a good workspace for this, so let's just get that out of the way. But yeah, so I had some of these sample pieces of wood, and this was basically for cabinetry. These were sample cabinet wood pieces, and I started wondering, could you do a pinning tray out of them? And obviously you could, but how little would you possibly need to get a decent pinning tray was kind of the goal here. I'm going to point out I do have some better stuff than what I ended up using for this. This was a minimum, what could you minimally get away with test. So yeah, we drew the lines and marked off the pinning tray literally with a piece of cardboard to get straight lines, because I figured everyone's got a piece of cardboard, and we only used these two bits and we freehanded it with the Dremel. And you can see we had varying degrees of success with it. I started with this to cut the first groove, and then I just used one of these bits. This one's gotten really weirdly warped in the middle there. But yeah, we just used one of these then to kind of flesh them out a little bit. Yeah, freehanding this with those two bits on the floor with only using cardboard as a guide, it doesn't really work. I mean, you've got stuff you can drop pins into, but let's face it, this doesn't look very neat and tidy. And you see, though, we did have varying degrees of success. These better ones, I went really slow on. I mean, really slow using this bit. And then I went back over them with that one and kind of fleshed out the grooves. But this was a very slow effort. And you can see up here, let me see if I can get some light on this. You know, when you're freehanding, it only takes one tiny slip up and you end up marring the whole thing. These much more crooked, but I was using a lot more pressure cutting through them, so the chance of it skipping across was a lot less. These I went much slower on, and yeah, it doesn't take much to all of a sudden like, have the thing fly off, and once it flies off once, it continuously wants to hit that groove and fly off again. So yeah, I mean, we're going to clamp some of these up and do some proper. We'll probably do some more tests to see what the minimum is. If you're wondering what this big notch is here, I was freehand cutting out a place that maybe that thing could sit, but I got a little big on it. I started to mark the size off. I marked off one corner and one side, squared it off with cardboard, and it got a little out of hand, and then I just started cutting because screw it, you know, why not? So yeah, there's a failure test. If you want to do a good pinning tray, these are really neat to work with. But not so much on the floor. Get yourself a good workspace. If you're wondering about this board down here, I was just kind of curious how this was going to work. This is the same kind of thing. It's a sample piece, but it's got this top on it, and inside it's just this. Man, it's not even quite particle board. I mean, it's like micro particle board, and it. Honestly, this stuff just falls apart once you break the surface. But I was just kind of curious how this would perform. So yeah, I'm going to keep trying to see what's the minimum I can do to hit a really decent looking pinning tray. But this wasn't it. Fortunately though, got a few pieces to practice on. Yeah, so you can see this stuff just picked all these up at the meat store. There's a price tag. I didn't pay that. I think I paid like $4 for a lot of this stuff. But yeah, got lots of pieces to practice on and come up with a system for you guys. So yeah, there we go. The first failure of pinning tray.